What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's been causing waves across social media: DL men being exposed. From shocking revelations to unexpected confessions, these stories have everyone talking. Let's get into the top 5 most jaw-dropping moments when DL men were exposed. Starting us off at number 5, we have a story that shocked an entire community. This man was living a double life for years, but when his secret got out, it was a total bombshell. It was already too late. He married her.
And pretty bleak, and I was about to get married, so why not talk to this random stranger who I met on chat roulette, right? What could go wrong? Anyway, fast forward 6 months, I get married to my wife. She, we're happy. I'm not happy, but, we're pretending to be happy. She's happy, I think. And 3 weeks go by. 3 weeks. And I'm taking a biochemistry course while I'm working on applying to medical school. And while I'm in that class, I get 11 phone calls from her. 11 missed calls. So I think to myself, that's not good. And I immediately knew it was wrong. She didn't say anything. She didn't leave any voicemails. She didn't text me, nothing. She just 11 missed phone calls. And she had my location, so she knew where I was. And I knew what she wanted because I was like, she somehow found out I was still talking to this guy that I met on chat roulette, which I was. I was absolutely still talking to him. Oh, and by the way, I definitely wasn't telling him that I got married. Lots of mistakes, lots of dishonesty. And I'm prepared, so give me all the judgment. I know everybody's going to fill the comments and tell me how horrible that was, but that's why I'm talking about this. Because I don't think it's right, and I don't think it was good, and I'm trying to help people who might think that they can do the same thing, realize that they can't. So she calls me 11 times. I leave class that day, and I'm going to call her back. I walk outside the building, and she is right there without shoes on, looking like she just saw a ghost or just watched her parents be murdered in front of her. She is horrified, and rightly so. So I knew exactly what the problem was. She obviously found out somehow, and she sat me down, and we wound up having a 3-hour conversation about how she saw my open computer where I was Skyping this guy, and she saw our chat history and everything. 3 weeks into our marriage. That's how she found out I was gay, which is very embarrassing, but that's how she found out. Horrible. So let's talk about it. I have written a short story about this, but I think I'm just gonna talk about it. So right after I came out to my wife, she had been at work all day, and I had written down what I wanted to say to her. She came home, we had the conversation, and I don't know what I anticipated happening right then and there. We were living in my parents' basement, which is what's so crazy about how young I got married. I didn't have a career. I didn't have a full-time job. I was still in school, but we were married anyway. And my parents were kind of helping us get on our feet. And maybe that sounds sweet, but it was really horrible actually, because I was so afraid of coming out in any direction, before I got married, after I got married, because I thought I would lose my housing right out of school, and I had nowhere to go, or I didn't know what to do. So anyway, she slept in a different room in the basement apartment of my parents' house than me the night that I came out to her. And then for about 3 more nights that continued. We didn't talk at all. Then I noticed she told me one night, I'm gonna sleep somewhere else, and I was like, okay. Didn't know where she was going, but I figured her parents or something. I find out she's staying at a friend's, I think she told me, and she was staying at a friend's for a while, and it had come to a week or 10 days after I'd come out to her, and I figured this whole time she was just trying to set up where she was gonna go from here or whatever. Well, she comes home and is still packing one outfit every night and then going to her friend's house. And so I stopped her and I was like, why aren't you just packing up everything? And she got irate at me, violently angry at me, and was like, how can you ask me that? Are you serious? You're really giving up? This is seriously over? you don't want to try? Like, how can you not want to try? And like, I had to tell her right there that I've been trying for years to make this work. And I think in her mind, me coming out to her was sort of like the beginning of me realizing I'm gay or something. You know, I'm not really sure. We've never talked about this specific story. You know, we've talked about just like everything from a zoomed out lens, but never this specific part. So I'm not sure what was going through her head at the time. But she was very angry, and it got to the point where I had to say, I need you to pack like a full bag. Like, we need to start the moving out process, because I can't keep seeing you. Like, I have to move on too. And my parents aren't, it's not like they're gonna understand what's happening. And I was a kid, like, this is still when I was 21. I had no idea what I was doing. So if you're there, I've been there.
It's a reminder that secrets like these have a way of coming out, often when you least expect it. Coming in at number 4, we have another jaw-dropping revelation. This man was known for being a family man, but when the truth surfaced, it changed everything. His wife found out everything.
Quick, because this is an experience that I personally have. So I'm gonna give you a quick little story. Before we even got married, he had like this crazy obsession with wanting to insert himself in my exit. I just was never interested in that. I, to this day, am not. I've always, and teach his own, but I always felt like, you know what, that's an exit, and I have a whole entrance waiting for you here, so I don't understand the point of that. But I couldn't understand why he was so obsessed with it. And because I kept denying it and kept saying, no, I don't want to do it, it sounds painful, he decided to ghost me. He didn't see me and he didn't speak to me for about a good week and a half. I specifically remember this because I cried. I was so upset. And I would look at myself in the mirror and think, what is wrong with me that I cannot do these things? I cannot just push myself to do all these things that he wants me to do. He would tell me things like, oh, you're not a freak. I like freaks, and you're too innocent, and you're not a freak enough for me. If you loved me, you would do this. If you loved me, you would do that. So one day I finally decided, okay, fine, I'll do it. I did it a couple of times, completely hated it. But pay attention to how it turns them on. I'm not saying that they're definitely a part of the rainbow community. I'm not saying that they are definitely swinging from that other tree branch. But, I am gonna say that is a ginormous DL red flag. Especially if they get so upset at the fact that you don't want to do it to the point where they decide to ghost you or to give you the silent treatment. Because we have a right as women to say no. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a right to say, I don't want to do this activity, or I don't want to do that. And if they want to go and be with someone else who will be willing to do it, fine, by all means. But the way that they respond to you saying no is a huge red flag. So I've watched several videos, and I do believe that a lot of DL narcissistic men who are obsessed with the exit, they want to try it because they think and imagine you being a man. Let's just put it out there. Let's just put it out there, ladies. They imagine you being a man. And again, I love the rainbow community. Absolutely love them. I have rainbow in my family. I try to be careful with my words because of TikTok. That's why I say rainbow. But in a relationship, if you are a man on the low or you have any curious feelings, it's okay to be curious. It's okay. It is nothing wrong being curious, but you have to be fair to your partner and make your partner aware and know that, hey, I'm curious about this thing. And if you feel like you can't trust your partner enough, you feel like you can't be open and honest and trust them to be honest with them and vulnerable, then maybe you shouldn't be with the person. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, they don't care. They will not be open and honest with you. They'll just get mad at you for not being okay with whatever activity they want to do.
This one left a lasting impact, showing just how powerful and destructive secrets can be. At number 3, this man's exposure was a complete shock.
Catching him in the act or seeing pictures or anything to say this man is full on gay. But once I get to the story time, y'all gonna be like, bitch. Like, disclaimer, I'm not outing anybody. I'm gonna be using fake names. It's not the fact that It's the sexuality part. It's the down low, hiding, being manipulative, breaking hearts, cheating. That's the bigger moral of the story. Be who you want to be. There's no homophobia here, but be who you want to be and stand on that. Okay? Let's get it. All right, so let's call my ex Ronnie. We're going to call him Ronnie. Ronnie and I, we had a lot of mutual friends, and that's just kind of how we met, just in passing. You know how you have friends, and then the guy has friends, and their friends are friends, but we're not friends. Mutuals. Duh. That's what I could call them, mutuals. So this particular time that I seen him was at Six Flags. He was with his best friend. Keep that in mind, because he's going to be a huge part of the story. And I was with my two homegirls. So it was a little bit more intimate than it usually is with all of our friends around. So I was able just to get a better look at him and just a better vibe of who he was, because it wasn't so much noise and so much people. And the vibe was cool. He was very calm, very collective, very mature from what I was seeing. And he was very attractive. For some reason, I guess everything was just chaotic any other time I seen him, but I was able to see him in the light of day. It was not so much going on, and I was like, oh my god, he's very attractive, and I fucked with it a little bit, right? So when we got home, we spoke to each other on Facebook, like, oh, it was nice seeing you, nice getting to know you, this, that, and third, blah, 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 blah. And from that point on, we never stopped speaking. Like, we just never stopped talking. Every day it was a good morning, how's your day going, this is how, this is what I did today, blah, 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 blah. So fast forward, that was in like August, fast forward to January. He gave me this really, really beautiful long paragraph for my birthday, and I just thought that was really, really cute. Like, this was a guy, he was very consistent. From that point, from Six Flags, the most we went without speaking to each other was probably like a day. So I was like, yeah, I dig him. And then he finally asked me on a date. He said he started a new job and his time was a little bit free. And then he stopped going to school. So he stopped going to college. He was going to a college that was a little further from where we stay at. So when he asked me on a date, he asked me out to the movies, and he paid for the tickets. He kept in touch with me the whole time leading up to me getting there, on what kind of snacks do I like to eat, bought the snacks, and it's just very, very, very attentive. And that's what I really, really liked about him. And like I said, I was very young, so it didn't take much to impress me, so to say. And that was just already more than I've ever experienced, just him doing that much for me. And I really was vibing with him. It was really, really cool. Fast forward a little bit, we continue speaking, dating. He keeps asking me on dates, and he's paying for the dates. So, and like I told you, I was very young, so him having a stable job, him being in college, everything was very new to me. I'm thinking this man is doing it, and he was doing it, honey. Okay? So yeah, like I said, he was doing his thing. I had no complaints, nothing. So the more I got to know him, the more comfortable he started to become. And with that comfortability I wouldn't say they were red flags, but it was certain things that I just kind of wasn't used to. And it would be his constant need for approval from this best friend that I told you earlier about. It would be kind of before he ever bought something, he had to check in with his friend. And I'm just but I already, he would come to me and I said, yeah, that's cool, I like that. But it had to be this best friend. I could say, yeah, that's a go, do that, or wear that, or buy that, or anything. But until that best friend said yay or nay, it wasn't moving. That best friend had to give it the opinion. If he couldn't reach that best friend in time, he would wait to do whatever, or buy whatever, or until that best friend gave his opinion on what to do. And that was very peculiar to me. But like I said, I was young. It wasn't right. Just step around. I love that. Okay, so I got started from January. We going on consistent dates. In April, he asks me to be his girlfriend and make it official. So now we're official. And mind you, I didn't really disclose to my close friends or my family members that I was getting serious with this particular person, because I've been known to do that, to kind of like jump the gun and want to tell my family and friends about this guy, and then things go left. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. It's another one bites the dust. So I just wanted to just have something for me, see exactly where it was going, how serious this person was, and see exactly what it would turn into before I told anybody. Now we're official. I'm telling my friends and I'm telling my family. He meets my sister first. After meeting my sister, he goes home. I head over to my sister's house. My sister says, Jada, that man is gay. I said, I'm sorry? Wait. Okay. So my sister says that, and I'm like, I'm half taken aback, because that was really left field, because from their interaction, it seemed like everything was going really good, and they was laughing at each other's jokes or whatever the case may be. And then right after, like, she was like, yeah, that's what it is. And because I already had those underlying feelings, I just couldn't pinpoint exactly what it is in like regards to the best friend and that dynamic being a little weird to me. When she said it, it was just kind of like, that's what I've been feeling. Okay. But I was still very much in denial. In this whole story, I'm not delusional right now. I was delusional back then. But right now, I'm not going to be delusional about being delusional back then. Like, I was stupid. I was young and dumb, guys. So please don't come for me in the comments. Okay? So I kind of just chalk it up to my sister that he was raised around a lot of his sisters, and that could be that influence. She lets it go, I let it go, and we continue on. Now, I met the best friend. Questionable. Here comes another male friend that he's very cool with. Let's call him Johnny. So my ex is Ronnie. This other friend that I'm just meeting is Johnny. Now, I already knew Johnny from in passing, kind of around the same neighborhood, got a lot of mutual friends. When I got with my ex, he was very opinionated about our relationship, and publicly on social media, kind of always, if you know, when you're young, you make cute little statuses on each other's stuff, and he would always be under both of our stuffs, just commenting something weird like, oh, that's gay, or yeah, y'all need to get a room. Like, it was just very like oh, this is lame. Like, he just always was commenting every status, almost every status. He would comment something. That was a little off-putting to me. So I told him, my ex, Ronnie, about it. And he was just more so on, oh, that's just Johnny being Johnny. That's just bro. Da-da-da-da. That's going to be a consistent theme. So pay attention to that too. So this one is about to cut off. But if y'all want part 2, you know what to do.
This story is a prime example of how appearances can be deceiving, and why it's important to be true to yourself. Sliding into the number 2 spot, DL men are everywhere.
28 years, got like 5 kids. I'm telling you, the more like uber masculine, machismo that they be acting, I'm telling you, they be.
It's a reminder that when you're living a double life, it's only a matter of time before things unravel. And finally, at number 1, we have the most shocking DL exposure of them all. This one had it all: drama, scandal. The story went viral, and people couldn't stop talking about it. The impact was so huge that it even sparked conversations about DL culture in general.
Cuz, what you doing? You busy? No? Okay, do you want to hear about the time when I left a DL guy at a restaurant? Yeah. So this happened like a few months ago or whatever like this. In my case, I was on a particular app. Y'all know which app that is. It's the J, ends with it, start with a J, ends with a D. Yeah. So there's guys on there, all of us know. And people be on there talking about when they want this and that and the third, and they knowing that when they don't want it, right? So I'm going through here erasing messages because it's a bunch of bullshit. So I received this one profile where it kind of came at me correct, but it was a blank profile. So I wrote him back and I said, hey, if we're going to have a conversation, I'm gonna need to see a picture of you. So he was nice enough to send me about like 5 pictures. I was like, okay, he very handsome. So we're talking, chatting and everything like that. He asks us for my number. I give him my number, and as soon as I get him my number, we FaceTiming. We were talking on the phone every day, chatting up, everything, right? So that lasted about like, I think a week. So next thing you know, he asks me, he was like, hey, you busy this weekend? I said, no, what about you? He said, well, I'm trying to take you out on a date. I'll pay. Remember that. So next thing you know, that day comes. We're FaceTiming. We're both getting ready to go on this date. So we both cleaned up everything. We finally made it to the restaurant. We're having a good little time. I'm shy. I'm shy when you first meet me, or I'm kind of a little socially awkward when you first meet me because I don't know how to react. So, I was basically just quiet, shy, really wasn't saying too much, but I was still doing the regular things, like I was still talking shit with him, laughing, not trying to keep eye contact with him or nothing like that, right? So in the midst of us eating and drinking and having a good little time, his phone vibrates. His phone is on the table, face down. And I was like, you gonna answer that? He was like, no, he reached down and he clipped the little button on the side to sit up there and I guess stop it from ringing. I was like, you need to try to, I'm like, who was that? And he was like, oh, ain't nobody important. So I hear his phone vibrate again. I said, whoever it is must be very important. He was like, no, it ain't important. He was like, no, you're important right now. Yeah. So his phone rings again. I reach over and I just turn his phone up. I turn his phone face up and I see a whole girl. It says, my wifey. And I was like, and I was real quick. I was like, I'm like, you better answer her. You better find, answer to see what she want. And he was like, man, why'd you do that? I said, you need to answer the damn phone. I'm like, I'm not finna sit here and listen to the damn phone vibrating throughout this whole date or whatever. And he was like, man, I'll call her back later. I'm with you right now. I was like, okay. So now we sitting there talking, we still sitting there. I'm still trying to carry on, conversation, acting like ain't nothing happened. So the check come. Yeah, this way it gets interesting. So he says, when the girl come over there with the check, she was like, what's this gonna be? This gonna be separate or together? And he was like, together. And so I'm looking at him just smiling, not thinking like, I can't wait to fucking leave here. So he grabs his wallet, y'all. He just fumbling through his wallet. And next thing you know, he was like, damn, I ain't got my card, I ain't got no extra cash. He like, you got something on you? I was like, you know what? I was like, you ain't got to worry about it, I'll pay for it. And he was like, for real? I was like, yeah, I'll pay for it, baby, don't worry about it. And he was like, damn, you a real one, damn. He was like, damn, I lucked out. I was like, yep, you sure did. So the girl come back and she was like, you ready to pay? I said, yes, ma'am. Separate. And he looked at me when I said that. He looked at me was like, man, I thought you said you was gonna pay. And I said, and I thought you was real. Apparently not. So I was like, yeah, man, split this. I said, he gonna pay for his and I'm gonna pay for mine. And so she was like, sir, you ready to pay? He was like, no, not yet. And I said, but I'm ready to pay. So she walks off. He was like, man, bro, I thought you was gonna pay for me, man. That's fucked up, man. It's messed up. I said, no, that's messed up. I said, you got a whole wife and girlfriend or whatever, and you out on a date with me? He was like, man, that ain't important. I said, yes, it is important. Because like I told him, I said, I don't play about my girls. So I was like, I don't know what you gonna do, but I don't sit up here and pay for men like that. No. Because like, first of all, you're not even my man. Second of all, you DL or whatever you is, and I don't play them games. Okay? So I was like, I don't know what you gonna do, but as soon as she come back with that check, I'm signing my stuff and I'm finna leave. It's a good thing that we drove separate cars. And so he was like, man, you really gonna do that? I'm like, how many times you gonna ask me that? I told you no. So she came back with the check. I sit up there, I signed it, put my card in my wallet. He was like, man, come on, man, just this one time. He was like, I'll make it up to you. She's standing right there. And so I said, ma'am, you have a good day. And I left her a little $2 tip. I said, I don't know what you gonna do. I said, you better pay that. I said, you better pay them folks. I grabbed my keys, got up, walked right on out the restaurant, and I blocked him as soon as I got out the door. So, cousin, I'm glad you heard that, because, baby, I got more stories, okay? But I'm gonna let you go to bed, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
So, there you have it. The top 5 most shocking DL men exposed. Which one surprised you the most? Drop a comment below, and let's get the conversation started. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more eye-opening content. Until next time, stay true and stay safe.